Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Esports Movers and Beyond. And today, we're in front of the North Carolina Esports Academy. Let's go on in. Hey guys, we're here at the North Carolina Esports Academy with its co-founder, Caleb Smith. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Before we dive into today's episode, we'd like to ask you a few fun questions to get to know you a bit better. Are you up for a bit of fun?
Absolutely.
It's game time! What's your favorite video game and why?
My favorite video game is Halo 3, and I'm kind of challenging to really describe why that's my favorite video game. The main thing is I really love that one. Playing it while growing up. I like the story mode. I like the competitive mode that it had. Halo was very ahead of its time when it came to like online competitive games, something that the new generation doesn't understand because there's a lot of cool things that came out. But back then, Halo was really the first to do a type of online interactive shooter game.
That's a pretty good answer. Out of Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, which company makes the best video game console and why?
I'd say Microsoft. The main reason is because of Halo, and the other reason, I played a lot of sports games growing up. I know PlayStation do have some games that are exclusively, on PlayStation devices. Nintendo as well with the games. Nintendo games, for me personally, I do like Mario Kart, but those games aren't ultra appealing. I can live without those. I don't play those too often. And when it comes down to the controller, that does make a big difference. I prefer Xbox controllers. I don't really like PlayStation controllers. And so for that reason, that's why I had to go with Microsoft.
Another phenomenal answer. Well, thanks for playing. You just earned 800 points. Could you share how you began this venture into the esports world?
Yeah, definitely. So I was actually, overseas in Germany at the time, and I was doing research on, innovative games. I've looked at like robotics, which is tied into AI, which is really, blowing up recently. This is back in 2018. And so really before, AI took off, was super popular, I was investing in some robotics companies and looking at other things. Some had, the markets were oversaturated, some were up and coming, and esports was one thing that I came across. And think personally, when I was younger, I like watching I like playing video games. I like the competitive aspect of it, and I thought it was really cool. I knew that esports was everything. Has a championship. Everything has some type of competitive scene. I wasn't aware how far along that shit came. And so when I discovered that and figured that out, I was like, oh wow, I really want to get into this industry. Little did I know about that. It was artificially inflated. Pretty much money was just thrown into it. And like the reason why I've been seeing, a downfall recently, the whole talk that esports is dead, was really because it was pumped up in VC and private equity, which have cut their funding big time. And so because of that, esports hasn't gotten the funding, so it's not able to continue to grow. And really the only growth that I've seen happen recently has been through Saudi Arabia and, over Asia, which Asia has had a sustainable esports ecosystem. But then in Saudi Arabia, they're just dumping a lot of money into it. And really with Saudi Arabia, I don't really think it's from a monetary how they make money off it. I think that the Saudi Arabia they're really looking to add that in, to promote the country, because people also get a bad rep, like talk about the Middle East. Me living overseas in Germany, I experienced so many different cultures that were out there. We're talking about people from the Middle East, from South America, all over Europe. And so I was able to, really talk to people and get to learn their culture, learn more about them. And, but a lot of people have a one-sided vision. People had a one-sided, vision of what Germany was like. I told them I was going over there, but then me being over there, I actually got to experience that firsthand. So I think they're really trying to find a way to get people to come to their country and experience it firsthand.
Caleb, can you tell us about the gaming curriculum you teach at this academy?
Absolutely, great question. With the curriculum that we teach, we work with youth in K-12, we specifically mostly elementary and middle schools. And the whole thing about the curriculum that we teach, we do want students to learn where they come here, but it's also more so about gaining the passion experience for it as opposed to, what exactly that they're learning so they will, pursue it in the future. Because, when you talk about careers, I think there has to be some type of exposure. And we use a lot of Minecraft because kids love that. We use games like Code Combat. We use Roblox in the video game design, Fortnite creative. And so we take all the different games that are out there, we, put those in together and say, how can we use this to educate the youth? And we're not doing at least not yet, specific but direct to career. Like, you learn this, you're gonna be able to go work at like what's a company like Red Hat or SaaS, something like that. We're not. That's not what we do as of right now. The whole thing is about sparking that interest, and then they look. And with that, we really want to encourage you to pursue these careers because they pay well. There's a lot of potential with it. They can also innovate and adapt. I mean, when you think about it, the next we talk about stuff like Jim Goodnight or David Morgan with Ben or Jim Goodnight's at SaaS or someone with a Red Hat founder was. But the next big time entrepreneur could be here and we talk about the small and medium sized businesses that we have here, or just all the people that go to work for one of these companies. So we really that's our main goal. And in terms of curriculum, we do have curriculum that is more like direct to career. Like we can teach how to use Unity or Roblox coding, uh, Unreal Engine. We're able to teach those specific programs, but overall, we mostly are just focused on the passion, youth coming in, learning different new skills, and then be able to figure out their career path. And when we see those companies that, been in business 5, 6 years, all of a sudden now they're closing out out of nowhere, it's usually because they had that VC of private equity backing. And the whole thing is, raise money, grow, 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 sell, fail. And so that's how esports was. And so because of that, some companies sold, like ESL Facing Group, they were able to wait out long enough that Saudi Arabian company bought them. But when we talk about esports, like all the teams, the amount of games they've been in, like esports boards, the amount of games that they're in has dropped in half. The amount of prize money has dropped. Not talking like high level professional, but overall it's dropped. And because of that, now it must be organic. But we're not talking the Esports World Cup that's taking place and everything. But I mean, that's just a one-time event. And here's the thing: who knows how long Saudi Arabia actually continue to do it? They're making in Dubai, they're making some like theme parks and everything, and it's about tourist attraction, get people to come. They're thinking like a Pokemon or something type of theme park, and then they're doing their Formula One race and other things. But it's like when they look at it, they say the World Cup, Esports World Cup wasn't worth doing. This event wasn't worth doing. We don't want to have this anymore. They said we don't want to put money into soccer anymore, basketball, whatever the activity might be. And so, especially talk about here in the States, it must be sustainable. Like there has to be some way. Like I know even right now for the high school state championship for the high school esports league in North Carolina, they are paying $120,000 in prize money, which I think is ridiculous because why are you giving money out for a high school activity? Like no other sport. Like football, which football even makes money, especially places like Texas, they don't get paid anything. Like why are we paying, money out? And I do that they want to get youth in it and everything, but it's just really challenging me to look at that because as I said, it's a bubble, it's just artificially inflated. And so how long it's actually going to take, I would say about 10 to 20 years. If you talk about actually organically grown esports, actually, like in traditional sports, if you actually take it, from this team has to make money. This league has to make money. It has to be done in a way that's going to monetize and make money. League of Legends is one game I think that's on the right direction towards that. But that's really the direction. And so who knows how long that's actually going to take because people are still trying to raise money and throw money at it and everything, which, I mean, I do get the, people have this FOMO, they don't want to miss out on such an opportunity. But at the same time, the reason why, we've grown this business and it's done well and been successful is because, we have to, we're transaction based. Didn't just have, $1 million dumped in and can do whatever we want, run the business how we want. We have to, sell products and or services. And what we sell that's something people want and they're not going to buy. And so then when people are like, oh, I want this, I want this camp, I'm going to buy it. I want this birthday party, I'm going to buy it. And so then it's organically grown because we're giving what, the consumer actually wants, as opposed to if we would have run, people do want esports tournaments, but I see a lot of organizations don't throw $10,000 into, esports tournament and they only make $7,000 off it. So they lose $3,000. So keep doing that. Like, yeah, people do want tournaments, but is that a sustainable way? Is that going to actually monetize? And so, and when you think about even like professional sports, how long, so like NHL, MLB, NFL, those took a super long time. Like leagues failed and everything, when they were trying to actually make it out big time. And it wasn't until, most past 10 years we've actually seen big time money. Like if you look at the money, like great athletes like Ray Lewis in football, talk about Michael Jordan in basketball, compared to the money now, they did not make that much money. Michael Jordan's entire career earnings was, I believe, under $100 million, when he actually played. You're talking about the best player in the league. Now you have players, nobodies, that make $100 million in like 3 years. So it's very challenging. Same, I guess, could be 10 to 20 years. It all depends on what goes on, overall. And then, but things have to be figured out. People, organizations, the publisher, they have to find some way to figure out what's the best way, to do this right.
Do you believe hosting esports tournaments at the Olympics will help speed up the process of popularizing esports?
So that be popularized or monetized, or like what way?
Uh, like how popularity for esports was in 2019, then the downturn after that. Do you think hosting esports tournaments at the Olympic Games potentially in 2028 would significantly increase the popularity of esports?
So yes, that would increase it. I mean, that's overall more exposure. A lot of people go to and watch Olympics. So the thing about the Olympics though is that they don't want shooter games in it. And so even though they did, I don't know what it was, maybe it was like it was some event, Olympic event, they added esports, but the esports community was very upset about it. Rocket League was the only game that actually got good amount of viewership because that was the only like non-binary. Like you could have Fortnite, you could have Overwatch, you could have Call of Duty, and I'm trying to remember what other games are out there. I think one maybe like fishing simulator or something like. We were not happy like as a whole. Like I was like seriously, I was like they should have not even offer esports. And so now they all talk about more of the virtual sports that are out there. So it's all about you do paintball, but in like actual virtual reality or some type of simulator either environment that they're having sports be. The when I was in Dallas last year, there was a cool franchise called Activate where they had, it was actually real active, but you could tie them with video games. One thing was more like somewhat of an AR type of simulation. Even most VR games are still, the competitive ones are still more shooter type, so they wouldn't allow those in yet. I do think offering esports, we have to figure out, what way it should be. But another thing too, I believe with esports, like how, there's the esports World Cup. I think esports should make their own Olympics. Like I don't think, they should keep trying to tie in sports because as you see, sports don't want esports as a part of it, And when you talk about esports, like, people talk about esports like it's one single thing, which is not. It's like you say sports, you have football, basketball, hockey, baseball, fit there with esports, you have Rocket League, Fortnite, and you have Overwatch, League of Legends. And so if we actually say, and that's another thing too when we talk about esports now, the popularity has to, grow overall for it. And so when we take these, games, if they actually start in Olympics or whatever type of event, at first, it's not going to be super big, grand, and massive. I mean, it's like anything else. You have to start somewhere. Every single company. You look at a company right now, you're 10,000 employees making billions of dollars of revenue a year. They do not start off like that. They start with a few employees doing something, and then they end up becoming a massive conglomerate. And so I think people are really trying to accelerate esports faster as opposed to being patient and letting it organically grow. And is there a place in the Olympics for esports? Yes, but I would actually like to see esports take their own approach towards it as opposed to trying to group it with traditional sports.
Yeah, it'd be great to have a unique esports Olympics. I'd imagine that over time it built an immense popularity and a following for esports. I'm sure many people will love. What do you believe are the most important factors of a successful esports team?
being able to be profitable, monetize, and stay in business is extremely important. You know, there's a lot of esports sports now, and the esports sport is really used more so as a marketing tool now. They said, okay, this is how we get our popularity, but the money's really, from they take content creation on. They do things that are interactive, which is why I think it's a good thing because then it forces esports sports to be more interactive with the community. When you think about sports teams over here, like the Durham Bulls, for example, they're very interactive in the community, and people like to go to the game. A lot of kids go to those games, different sporting events as well. And I believe esports could be the same thing. A lot of kids like, oh, they're content creators, they make this. And the thing about esports is, as a player, you actually have to be good, and you have to be better. Like if a kid plays you or beats you, then I mean, no one's gonna like, oh, that's the name I beat him. But the thing is, if somebody's a YouTuber, you just have to be entertained. You'd be like, you take someone like Mr. Beast, which you can mix in like the gaming part and other cool things as well. But the thing is, they're gonna care more about, oh, it's cool, it's fun to be in these videos, it gets a lot of views, as opposed to, oh, actually the esports team and everything. And we need to take a huge step back. Players soon are gonna, get paid nothing to very little to nothing. It's like until it monetized, they talk about prize money and everything, but prize money is just one way. It wasn't until TV rights came around that traditional sports teams started, generating revenue. And same thing, with the esports. They're not signing these multi-billion-dollar, TV rights. They Overwatch signed one with YouTube for 3 years, over $180 million. The team didn't even get any of it. So it wasn't a lot. So it has to be some way of actually monetizing it for these teams, and which it means that the players are play for very little. I mean, we talk about, baseball players back in the 40s. I mean, they were making poverty wages. And so, people like, we have to, really take a significant step back, which is going to be very challenging for players that, making $500,000 a year in probability, be making, 30,000. So that's one thing. And then, they rely a lot on sponsorships. And that's another thing, like, people give more towards the content creators than on, specific sponsors. Like I said, esports is a very tough position right now. It's going to take, rebuilding to do. So I believe adding the content, piece will help the sponsorships. But the thing is, overall, they should look to make more of an overall brand, that people are going to want to follow. Like, with Mr. Beast is a brand, Ninja, which Tyler Blevins, that's a brand. A lot of these people want to buy their apparel because of the brand. People want to, watch them because of the brand. They want to, go and be in their videos because of the brand that they have. And so, and that's why I really think esports should, push itself towards, because it's like, in terms of talking about, oh, being the best, it's like, well, you have to continuously win. If you're not continuously winning, people don't care about it. But if you're entertaining people like it, there's a lot of, athletes, something like tennis or another sport that, they're not the best overall, but they're very entertaining. And so people like them because of how entertaining. Like, they may be like 24th in the world, but everybody knows them, wants to autograph or take pictures with them, shouts when they come out because they're so entertaining when, they're out there. So it's challenging for me to say. I mean, I'm not in that space and I haven't actually done it, but what I have seen, things that have been successful within esports, it's really that there needs to be a focus on profitability.
Do you think the future of esports should stay on streaming services such as YouTube and Twitch, or do you think it should expand beyond that?
Well, it should stay on those. I think it should expand beyond those. And the issue with YouTube and Twitch is that they're free ish. So, like they sell the ads, more people watch it, they will sell ad revenue. Or if you don't want to see the ads, you can pay a month, the whole term. If it's free, you're the product. And so, Twitch and YouTube, they do pay. Like if they want to showcase, NFL or whatever it might be, they do pay to have those. So same thing, they're gonna be paying to have, League of Legends or Overwatch on. But the thing is, when you look at terms of viewership, like you talk about, NFL games, how many people turn those on? How long they stay? They talk about esports. Like in comparison to traditional sports, very few people turn. They stay on for like 2 minutes and then get off. They don't engage a lot. And so the thing is, we talk about the amount of ad revenue that's made from that. it's a whole lot less than revenue TV rights that are made from traditional sports. And so it's all relative because they want pretty much what they want to do was traditional sports were like this long time bottom, either tank somewhere in the bottom, and then started going up and recently it's exploded. Esports, they did this with it. And then now it's tanked. And now they're trying to do this again with it, as opposed to like having steady, consistent growth. The character development. That's one reason why, parents put their kids in crime. No one's thinking about, oh, karate champion, anything like that. That's why parents like sports as well. And it's because of what you get to learn. So, for example, today in camp, they're having to build a farm and they have to work together in a farm. So, communication and teamwork, learn how to work with others, and communication skills, all those which are necessary in the workforce. And that's one reason why, we really like it because we're teaching, the technical skill that I talked about. Oh, actually, the video gaming guy. And then we're also teaching, the kids the life skills because it doesn't matter how good somebody is at something. If you can't show up on time, you're not going to be, able to work well out of place. If you can't work with others, if you can't take constructive criticism, if you can't listen to all, the, what they call soft skills, all these character life skills, those are extremely important and what employers are looking for. And so we're, feel say that killing two birds with one stone by we're combining both of them, we're able to teach at the same time technical skills and the soft skills for them to be able to go and actually be productive in the future workforce.